Well, it's Friday. It's Friday. And for the very first time in our marriage, she witnessed what we call a Sadie's bed situation, which is that thing where you're trying to do something and then something else goes wrong and then the other first thing falls on top of you and then you're trying to hold like three things at once and then it starts getting kind of dire and you forget how you got there in the first place and it can be funky. And so, as I said, it's Friday. Mm-hmm. Freezing fog Friday.
Yes, I slipped.
Triple F. Freezing fog Friday.
Whatever.
And F's have 3 points. 1, 2, and 3 on the bottom. We're 3 for 3. It's got to mean something. The facts are there, people. It's basic math.
No, he really likes the number 3. That's why we have 3 kids and 3 pets.
The only thing we were all supposed to be S's too. Not literally. We were not actually all supposed to be S's. It just kept happening that way. And so Sabrina, out of defiance and shaking her hand at fate, gave our middle child a W name. So I understand the thing, but just like, it's trying to fill an inside straight now.
What?
Sorry, it's an old phrase. They say the mind wanders in the autumn years. Trying to fill an inside straight is if you're staying in poker and you've got 1, 2, 4, 5, 6.
Poker.
Do you know how many tables she's run in Vegas? 0. So anyway, so you've got like ace can be high low. So you go ace 2, 3, 4 or whatever, 2, 3, 4, and there's one in the middle, and you're holding out, trying to fill in the middle when that's ridiculous. I mean, it's bad enough you're trying to look for one on the other end. Trying to fill an inside straight, it's a thankless, impossible task.
Okay. I tried to figure out poker in Red Dead 2, I think, but I got bored. So.
Yeah, but unlike Witcher.
No, I'm very good at Gwent. Okay, do you want me to get going? This is what I'm wearing. I don't know.
It's a 6138 8020 Panda. It's original. I think the hand loom is bad. I think I had to reloom the hands and the dial. That orange is a little too dark for me. And when I did this watch, I didn't have my new method for making these actually visible. I'm probably going to go back in there and do that. Has a little bit of the patina-ing that these really tend to get to one degree or another, but looking good. There it is. I had some fun. I never timed this thing. I just slapped the circuit on it. I haven't timed it at all, haven't adjusted it. I set it to the second, however long ago. And so I just set my Bench 7559 pocket watch, courtesy of the Ryan Walters collection. So let's see how I'm doing. I just set this one. Ooh, we got some adjustimating to do, don't we, huh? It's weird because for a while there, it was to the second. Maybe it took a minute to run in. Okay, well, when I have a second, that is what I will do. And on this wrist, it's the Seiko Grand Quartz 6943 8010. And that beautiful snowflake dial. And on the other wrist, my great uncle's Explorer. I wear it all the time. I put this on this, oyster bracelet. And I think it's nice because it beefs up the watch just a tad, which I like. I reloom these hands to be lighter because I like the contrast. And also, the original loom was destroyed. There was nothing there. This is like the third time I've reloomed this handset. But these are a little lighter, gives that nice contrast. Plus, I can read it at night, which is cool. Well, you're the only game in town.
Whoa. Okay. Gareth Brennan. Hello, SNS. Greetings from the Emerald Isle. Question for Spencer. Any tips on how to press the back feet on a 6139 6002 endlink without damaging the endlinks or the watch? Mine jingle a lot.
Okay, well, you're going to have to, if you want to make a tight end link, you're going to have to damage a couple end links for a given value of damage. But I made a segment. I actually made it. I already made it. It's made.
Ooh.
Like I did it. Okay, so tightening up end links. We've got two examples here. One where I can show you about tightening end links, and one to complain about because you can't tighten them because you can't. So let's talk about tightening them. So here we go. Okay, so what we're talking about here, folks, is these little eerie things. These are off the back of these end links, and they hold the end links firmly. They're pressing upwards to hold this end link up where it's supposed to be. But sometimes these get a little floppy. So what I do is I get my handy dandy protective film. You can get these things in big rolls. It's nice stuff. Use it for everything. I package watches with it, but I use it for this kind of thing a lot. You get there, and then you find out, aha. Now, I use these. A really old set of needle nose pliers. Big thing for me is they have fine points, and basically I've used them for so much they're worn away to nothing inside. These are definitely 2-person generations older than these might have been my granddad's for all I know. Anyway, so what we do is we come in here, and what you're going to do basically is you're going to come in right under here and go squink, 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 and tighten that up. Now, it may be that you also have to bend these little ears down. And believe me, that's something I have to do, in which case you come in under here. I'm not going to do it, but you're coming under here and you go work like this because you want to bend that down. It's better to do this actually with the link off and then bend that down so you're not up against the case, but that's how you do it. You go boop, 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 and then you check it. And if it's good, awesome. You do it a little more, do it a little more. In any case, so we look at the backs on these, and you can see it's a totally different situation. There's almost nothing that's holding those except this kind of little reverse clippy dealy. But even that, it's kind of just, these you can bend the ears down on, but the problem is that the link basically is held in place by, like, it's hard to even explain. Even I don't understand it. In any case, some are worse than others. This isn't bad. Watch didn't have many miles on it. Oh, right. That's that service bezel. I've got to think about putting on a correct original. That's original. It's just for a later one. There it is, people. The chiclet. I hope that was enlightening.
Carlos Perez, IW4IG. I picked up a Seiko 7002 700J. It looks to have a black dial and chapter ring. I was just curious if they are supposed to have a blue dial and blue chapter ring. It's hard to find any info on these regarding the dial and chapter ring color, and also the metal dial ring and movement holder that would fit instead of the plastic. Any possibility you can show them so I can try and hunt down? Thanks in advance, and love your channel, and Medical with Sabrina. You both are great and have great chemistry.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I am going to have to show you. Okay, 7002s. I was going to pull the case back off this one, but it's on there so tight, I don't think it's ever been pulled off. I mean, somebody tried and they couldn't get it. I'm probably going to have to put the big crank on that one. This is the transitional 7002 when they decided to go to the new ISO standards, which they themselves helped draft, which meant that had a different water rating, 200 instead of 150, and a unidirectional 120 clicking click click, like so. Other than that, it's identical to the other one. Gray Prometheum for the dial, not a successful loom. There were some that were made for, I mostly see them from Southeast Asia. They used a different loom. It looked like a tritium. Dial in hands, but not this one. This is not the original insert, by the way. You can tell how wrong it is by, I don't know if you can see how it's got that, see how the top, the pip there, see how that's rounded in? Wrong. It's supposed to be completely flat. The top of the pip is supposed to be clear plastic, and there's supposed to be a bevel on the inside, like a sharp bevel that point comes over. Anyway, talking about the stuff. Okay, these have a dial ring and a movement ring. Okay, just like any other watch. They're both plastic. Seiko only used these for this model. Thereafter, they went to a god damn it. After, instead of having these two pieces, they went to a one piece that accomplished the work of both, which frankly is pretty solid design. I understand it. I agree. And I believe one can actually use those in these, and they provide dampening. So, but what these came equipped with was this. This is the dial ring that was underneath the. So there's the dial ring. It's that white plastic thing. It separates the movement, holds the edge of the dial in place. So Seiko, of course, was cutting a few corners because for a long time, they made them out of metal. So they switched to plastic probably when quartz really started kicking off. They started cheapifying some of their models. But with the 7002, this was really the only place. This thing is ridiculous. What will work is the movement ring and spring from a 6000 series. Pretend this isn't rusted. This works perfectly because the internal architecture for this and the 6000 series are the same. And these will drop right in. But, whatever. This I understand because that's just silly. But if it's not damaged, it works. So, and the movements in the 7002s are just so good. They're just so good. I don't even know why they're so good, but they're so good. Any case, that's the story with that. And they're off.
True Blue Miata. Greetings, Sabrina and Spencer. Thanks for showing the Pogue and Junior. It would have been killer for the 7838 to have had a rotating indicator ring.
That would have been great.
I'm tempted to add one to my modest set of 7A watches. Question: the early 7000 series movements were Daini and the 6000s from Suwa. Are all 6 and 7000 movements that followed, including the chronographs, direct descendants from the early three-handers, and do these lineages persist to the present day?
Can I see that really quickly, please? Okay, well, you got two things. We jumped from 7A, which is quartz analog chronograph, right? And then you jump to 7000 series, 6000 series. Those are two totally different things. The rotating 70, what the early 7000 series were done, all 6 and 7 that followed, including the chrono director, and in a way, yeah, actually, because the 6000 series was the 6106. A was the 25 joule was the base for all of those 6000 series, and I mean, just to show that, you can use there's almost total commonality between a 6106A 25 joule and a 6309, all the way down the line, and a large number of their parts will simply exchange. It's one of the reasons why you can put a 6000 series, like a 6309 upgunned, like I like to do it, in a 6105, because you can just kaboom, you can just do it. 6000 series starts with the 6106, blah blah blah. 7000 series starts with the 7005. So it's the same thing. It's a base solid movement, and everything is built off of that. When you get all three-handers, 7005, 7006, 7009, and yes, both of those lend a lot of their things to the next generations of the chronographs. The chronographs of both are built on the base of their base caliber. The 6139, 6138s use the exact same pallet fork, pallet bridge screws, center wheel, the entire calendar, unless it's a 6138, and that doesn't count. It's a solid overlap. What's up?
Nothing.
Oh,
Are you done?
I stopped talking.
That doesn't mean anything. Bob Smith 2943. Been following you for years.
Thank you.
I have a collection of about 120 vintage Seikos, 30 bullheads, 18 pandas, one 18K 6145 8000 with all original box straps buckled, 20 Pogues, 66117 8000, and many more. I've collected them the last 20 years living in Southeast Asia. I don't know what I have, as I know many of the wrong hands and dials. I was just getting them for such good prices 15 years ago that I just bought what I could get my hands on. Would you need to have these watches in your hand, or would photos give you the info you need?
Or if you're talking about selling, if you're looking to sell these things, sure. I mean, we buy watch collections. I love looking at stuff. For something that's from Southeast Asia or any of that kind of thing, because you guys have so much more like humidity and all the heat and that kind of stuff, the watches tend to be beaten up a little more, and they can be reworked more. So best thing to do is send me pictures to kvw at kleinvintagewatchrepair.com. That's kvw at kleinvintagewatchrepair.com. Send us pictures and talk to us about what you got, and we'll see what's up.
KVW's overdue review of the Seiko MM300 SBDX001 Marine Master.
Okay, so on this, somebody had a comment about this and about this model. Some of you might remember the Ocean Watch, the Marine Master from the Hawaiian beach, the one that was found in the surf, lost. But it had, the case had rusted through in one area. The interior was flooded, but because there was no oxygen inside, because it got used up by what was ever there was still liquid water inside. And this was years later. And in any case, I started going through it. I wasn't able to get it to the point with the owner to get him willing to restore it. So it went back to him. The mystery, my friends, has been solved. The original owner has contacted me. I'm in conversation with him. In fact, the last email he sent me, he said was at that exact same beach. He was there when he got my reply, saying, I am so sorry I didn't work harder to convince that guy to let me restore that watch. But we have the original owner. I want to find that guy, and I want to get that watch. And I want to restore it. So I'm having trouble locating his contact information. I'm sure I have it somewhere. And it'll turn up eventually, probably when I'm looking for something else. But if someone knows that gentleman who owned that Hawaii Beach Find watch, please get him in contact with me if you know. I'm going to keep looking, but I want to get this done. I want to right a historic wrong. Okay.
Do I have to read the title of the overdue review again?
I don't know. Do you think she should read the title of the overdue review again? It's about the Marine Master.
Fine, then I won't.
The 8L35 Marine Master.
I'm not reading it.
Oh, come on, please.
You're the one that keeps talking over me. KDW's overdue review of the Seiko MM300 SBDX001 Marine Master. Setter 55, lovely example. I own a 017 2016 model. The loom looks lumpy on it, similar to a 001, but the loom plots have much thinner borders than the 001. Is it possible that some early 017s had hand-applied loom?
Well, if machine applied loom is really smooth. If you look at that under a magnifier and you look at it, you should see that it really has a kind of natural inconsistency, and that'd be a pretty good, clue. But that said, I don't actually know the answer. I know a lot about the 001s. The 017s, not as much. I know they did change the loom. It's greener and I think more glowy. Plus, they also put that diamond hard coating, that DHC coating on the steel to make it steelier or something. But I don't know the answer. If somebody knows the answer, please let me know.
Seiko 7828 chronograph restoration was known as the mediocre. Hi, I recently took a gamble on a very clean one, and unfortunately, it seems the movement suffered a battery leak. I looked around here, Canada, and the only answer.
In Canada?
In Canada?
Sorry, that's a Simpsons quote.
What? No!
No, the comptroller says, where I'm from, Canada.
It was from Brain Candy TV!
No, it wasn't that.
Yes, it was!
No, that comptroller, no, that's from The Simpsons.
They would say that the dog, whatever the name is from Canada.
No, I'm saying that the quote I'm saying, and it was also said that way, was from The Simpsons. The guy comes, he's even got a thing on it. It was something to do with a giant check of some kind.
Well,
And he holds up the check and he says, and then he finds out about the fraud and he's like, where I come from, Canada. I swear. At least we're not arguing about Smurfs. First thing, you have no idea what you're talking about. Sorry, Donnie Darko. I'll stop.
Thank you. I don't know where I left off. Something about. Oh.
That's what she said. I don't even know what that means.
The only answer I get is we'll replace the movement if we find one. I'd like your opinion on the matter if that's possible. I understand either way the total investment is going to be towards $600 to $700 Canadian, but I'd like to explore different options.
Okay, so it's a matter of what's dead, and why it's dead. We're talking. Did he say if it was water damaged or something?
Very clean, but I had a battery leak.
Oh well, then. Oh, but you're going to have a dead circuit, and you're probably going to have a dead coil, if not more. So, but help is on the horizon. Well, in the internet, literally. Look in North America. Go to eBay. Filter for North America, used, and then put 7828 or just 7A Seiko. I would go 7828 Seiko, and look then of all those results. Look for one that is gold plated. Okay? Now, the reason I say that, look for one that's gold plated, and it can be all kinds of hacky and nasty looking on the outside. That doesn't matter. Look through the crystal and look at the dial and see if the dial is clean, dial in hands, and especially the lume. Look at that. Look for that white lume, beautiful white lume, because that is it's like a destruction indicator for the inside of the watch, because the lume is pretty reactive because it's salt-based. The reason we look for gold cases is that the plating isn't real durable, and so they also made the cases out of base metal, which is also not very durable, and so they tend to look really ratty pretty quick, which means, Dad's nice golden watch starts looking, kind of scratched up, goes into the sock drawer. Doesn't have nearly as much time on it. So you get one of those, they're going to look rough. You can see the clean dial. You have a good shot at getting a low hours movement. Don't try to fiddle with the one with the battery leak. Again, don't try to fill in inside straight.
7548 7000C servicing. Sirdal Captain. I purchased a 7548 7000, which arrived on the last day of 2023. Then a 700C orange like this one landed on my wrist 4 days ago. Tomorrow I will pick up another 7000.
Wow.
And probably at the end of this week, a mid-size 7C43 6010 will knock my door. The case hands, brutal accuracy, reliability factors make these models timeless classic. Thank you very much for sharing.
Oh, my pleasure. I love hearing people sing the praises of the 7000 series, the 754s, and the 7559s, and that kind of stuff. They were top of the top, best of the best. Seiko invented that movement on the back of the 6000 series. So we go all the way from 6105, 6106A, 25 jewel, all the way to 6309, and then sideways to the 754X movements, because they too were built on that caliber. And they made them to be the best of the best 7549 Marine Master professional dive watch movements, and they propagated that movement all the way down to the Pulsar 514 with the same movement. I mean, they're a little different, but they're built to the same specs. And, it's pretty amazing. They're great stuff. Thank you.
For MB Seiko 61067107, Larry Tim 5334. Hi, I bought the same watch, but the stem crown got broken. Do you know where I can buy it? Also, I wanted to have it serviced. Not sure if you can do it. Thanks.
On the servicing, I'm incredibly terribly slow. I'm also brutally ADHD. So I can only take a couple jobs a month, like tops. But if you go to kleinvintagewatch.com and go to servicing and look, if when there's one there, we'll put up a billable slot. There's not going to be one available now. But if you go to the bottom and you put in your email or something and then it saves you or something. Mm-hmm. So you go down at the bottom and you put in your email and you're on the wait list. And then when we put up a slot for sale, everybody on that list gets notified. And that's the way it goes. And it's first come, first serve. I just, I want to say yes to everybody, and that gets me into some trouble. So I've got to artificially restrict what's going on. Oh, wait, but the first question.
Do you know where I can buy a stem crown?
Okay. So those are just like the 6139s. Well, almost. Except they use a stem that's one digit off. The actual stem that you need is 357611. 357611. It has a slightly different length for the square center section for the sliding gear. The crowns are 50 and crap. You know what you do? Go on eBay and type in, 6139 stem or 6106 sport diver stem. As long as you've got, the right crown, the right stem, you should be fine. You can't use the old ones because when those stems break off, they leave the stub in the crown, and I haven't ever gotten one out successfully. So the one thing is that when they don't come pre-built, and so you're gonna have to trim the stem down. Lastly, do you have your gear and your spring? Because those are 4-piece. 4-piece? Well, 5, I guess if you count the seal. Crown, seal, stem, gear, and gear spring. You got to have all that stuff. I think they might even sell them pre-built.
Wow.
Honestly.
Mr. BT Cruiser. Something about the Seiko hybrid mechanical movements tickles my fancy. That smooth and accurate second-hand sweep is just wonderful. I viewed someone overhaul a Seiko Elnix 0703A where the battery just coated the inside with an electrolyte crystalline substance. What a mess.
Yeah, that stuff's awesome. That stuff's really fantastically incredible with all the amazing damage that it can do. I don't know, the electromechanicals are sort of, they're sort of not Rube Goldbergy, they're sort of, quaint isn't the word, they're sort of delightfully anachronistic. That's what they are. They're overly complicated to solve a problem that they do. I don't know how accurate they are. I had a lip French watch. They were the first ones that did that. Jacques Cousteau had a lip. And I serviced that thing, and it was a good movement, and it was horrendously inaccurate. Yeah, it was, and I'm like, maybe I just suck at it, I should, the last time I did an 0703, it was pretty accurate. I'd have to find one and service it and then put it on the cyclotron and see what I can do. I think they're more art than science. I'm sorry, go on.
What, cyclotrons?
They are art. They're beautiful and confusing things. Watching them, it's like watching a fire for me. It's crazy. I really enjoy it.
Wow. Salty crabs. Sua's hand-soldered circuit boards are so beautifully made. I love looking at them under a scope. Amazing craftsmanship.
Yeah, I got to get a scope. I have a scope, but it's not usable. Actually, I have 2 scopes that neither of them are usable, come to think of it. No, and I have a third one. I have Sadie's scope, and she doesn't use it, and I forgot I owned it until this minute.
Wow, that one should work.
Here's my question. How many circuit boards could someone do in the course of a day? They're hand soldering these circuit boards. They're not terribly complex, but my goodness. I'm curious. Anybody know how many of those early Seiko things got hand soldered things, how many of them they made? I'm curious. Somebody inhaled a lot of flux fumes. Hope they had a hood.
Pluto or Bit Dream. I'm glad you posted a video about this stuff. It reminded me to look about you cut off the whole question.
I did. Let me look at it. Oh, no, I remember the rest of it. He said it made me want to look up the 62177,000. That's the world time. And if they had a little warpy washer that went underneath the crystal and on top of that rotating ring, and the answer is yes. That ring, that warpy spring washer came with the crystals. It was one of those things. They should both be in there. But if you have your own original, it can be reused.
Mr. BT Cruiser. It is too bad they can't come up with battery technology reasonably priced that will not leak out like that. I view an electronic repair channel and he often comes across equipment where the surface mount electrolytic capacitors leak out and damage the copper traces and vias on the PC boards. Some of this equipment can be $3,000 to $5,000 USD with multi-layer PCBs often being used these days, the damage can be catastrophic. Of course, often these leaks happen after the warranty period. If the manual showed a wavy washer under the crystal, I didn't see one. How did Seiko handle updates to these manuals? Mail out sheets?
Okay, so here's the thing. I think I split the question. So I actually kind of already started doing
Whoa! So damn.
this. It was my fault. Okay, so the question is, though, is Seiko would send out these servicing guides and all this other kind of stuff. And I don't think they would push updates, as it were. They would, what they would do is they would have servicing guide 1976, servicing guide 1970, whatever the heck it is, and they would update them as they went. You could get updated sheets, still can actually, I think, through various watch houses, an extra $1 or whatever the heck it is you add it on, get your order and has your plans and go from there. But we need to create it. All of this stuff needs to be scanned in full color and available free of charge, all of it to everybody, because I keep forgetting how rare this knowledge is. I have a couple of these books and I assumed that they were easy to find. I was like, you can still find them on eBay. They don't go on eBay. So I really, really wish I could wave my, wand and get those all scanned in online, because I think that would be really helpful for a lot of people.
KBWs, I really didn't plan to restore this HAQ Grand Quartz 0943 8030. CMB 1972. Nice job, and I love the underlooming. You are 100% correct when you state to always keep everything. Just managed to suss out screws I needed for a 6139 project. Can be found in a modern 7T32 quartz movement, and I have a few scrappers saved. The screws are unobtainium as separate parts otherwise.
You can find them they're in 7Ts. I found them in a couple of other places, but I actually made a segment about this. And then he has the part, if you look, I'll figure out, he has the part number and everything, but I'll put in the segment. What the question is here, or what the PSA is here, is there are two screw sets, two screw types that resemble each other. Like basically, from one end, they look exactly the same. Those screws are for the pallet fork bridge. And they look externally exactly like these screws in the framework with oscillating diddly bob. Well, here's the strange thing. I have my theories why Seiko did this, but the tap size, the thickness of the shaft that the screwy part is made out of is one tick down from here to here, which means this screw will work in this bridge. This bridge screw will not work in this one, period. And it's like you are getting to this point and you're getting ready to firm down your winding bridge screws, and then you realize, oh my goodness, because they won't drop in. They won't do it. And you're like, crap. And now you got to take off the entire winding bridge assembly because you have to let down the mainspring, which you can't do until you get the bridge off because the magic lever doesn't allow this to reverse. And then you got to pull that down. You got to let the mainspring down, pull your balance, pull these things out, take all the screws out, make sure you got the right ones somewhere. And then, because you got to check them again, because remember, these can go in here. So if you have all four, you have to flip them over and look at them. And so, wait, is that one right there? Aha! How'd that happen? I must have planned ahead. This, friends, that is a bridge screw. Okay, so here they are. Here are our two screws. You can barely tell the difference. That's the bridge screw. I'm sorry, this is the winding bridge screw. Darn it. That is the bridge for the pallet fork screw. So again, that will go into that, that won't go into that. All right, that's it. Thank you.
NGHDSJD. All the twin quartz movements were built on a single quartz base, 78 to 99, as you noticed, but also 58 to 92, 71 to 97, etc.
That's really great information. I thank you so much for telling me that. That's a really, really cool thing to know.
Sidewalk Astronomy Netherlands. What is the yellow color? Is it plated with some metal, or is the gray stuff a layer up on the yellow metal so you can't gold or nickel plate it? What is the chemical made up of the gray stuff?
I made a little segment about this. I've already made it. I think this thing has to be some kind of plated base metal. Has to be. You can see, as this is where that electrolyte came up through here and it was solidified. Literally, it looked like compressed Clorox bleach. And all this stuff is black. Whatever this is, it's some kind of, I have no idea what it could be. It's really pitted on the other side. Make sure that's... Darn it. Come on. Yeah, is that better? You can see, it's really nasty, eaten in there. But I have to assume it's some kind of base metal. That's all I can think.
Joe YI8XJ. I have two Pulsar Y112 6019 divers with this issue. Battery leaked all over in one, and the other is in much better shape, but won't run and has some slight evidence of leakage. Wondering if it's worth doing this or just replacing the movement. Having trouble finding a movement that fits, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is one of these things. I don't have that direct exchange in front of me. It'd be easier simply to swap the movement unless you really feel like digging into trying to clean up a circuit. It's a ton of work. And I have been not always, I've had some notable successes, but pretty much I've always failed. It's just one of those things. They're kind of like a light bulb. There are people like the Digital Watch Forum, English dude, British dude, whatever you guys want to call yourselves, royalists. In any case, but he, Digital Watch Forum, and or is it the Electric Watch Museum? I know, one of the two. One of the two might not exist. I'm not sure. I might have just made one up. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, his big thing is actually fully rebuilding these circuits. He can do it. It's nuts. I mean, he's somebody who really enjoys his quartz watches. But it's a great resource. I swear it's Digital Watch Forum.
Okay.
That's it. Mm-hmm. Anything else? Mm-mm. Nothing else. Mm-mm. Deadpool 3's coming. Yes. There's nothing you can do to stop it. It's coming. You should watch season 7, episode 1, Rick and Morty, because you need to tell me whether or not Hugh Jackman being in that as a basically episode-long cameo is ridiculous pandering to basically boost his craziness appearance for Deadpool, or if it works.
I didn't even know there was an appearance. Well, you just spoiled it.
Everybody knows, but it's...
I didn't know. I don't really go on the internet much anymore.
Well, wait, so if you know what I seriously thought? I was like, well, all I have to do now is rewind the thing, and I can edit that out, and then she won't know. In any case, no, you don't. Honey, everybody's talking about it. It's been all over the place. If you're not spoiled, it's your own fault.
What? I don't even go on the internet and read about it.
Everybody says a lot of people I've read say that they think it's the weakest episode of the whole season. I watched it last night. I was like, hey, this ain't bad. It's not a bad episode. It makes sense. They were like, all of it's nonsensical and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, trots along pretty fine for me. I couldn't tell if his appearance, though, was gratuitous, like they were really trying to ram it home, or if it worked organically.
Okay.
I need a separate set of eyes. Folks, thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Bye.